And welcome to the Black Tornado Podcast. Step right up, come on in for another doomy banger. On this episode, I'm hanging out with Chris from Buzzard. What's up, Chris?
Hello. Hi. Thanks
What's
for
going
having
on,
me.
brother?
Just hanging,
Nice.
drinking water out of my Celtic Frost Morbid Tales mug.
Oh, very cool.
Like a typical Friday night.
Yeah. Just when you thought all the good doom bands were taken, Buzzard comes along. And immediately I went, that's a sick fucking name. Buzzard. Because, Buzzard's like, that's such a, from Massachusetts, correct?
Yeah, Western Mass, out in the Eldritch Hills, around Amherst, Shutesbury area.
Nice. I've been to Massachusetts before, but we're going to get into that later. I'm going to start with you. So when did the project start? When did Buzzard take off?
Buzzard started, I can pinpoint the exact time, my friend, 2019. Here's the story. Here's the origin story. A friend of mine's brother-in-law lives in Cleveland, and he is a photographer, and he took a picture of a buzzard on a cross in a Cleveland cemetery. Like Cleveland's famous for its buzzards. And
I did not know that. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, the Buzzard is the radio station. Yeah. And I have another friend of mine, Andrew, who comes in the story later. The three of us are like the metal friends. We get together at metal fests and, play round robin and spin records for hours and drink whiskey.
Nice.
And we all love Doom. And so Jay showed us this picture and be like, this picture is like the ultimate Doom metal cover, and we should call it the band Buzzard. Like, we have no band. We're just spitballing, just hanging out. And then Andrew was like, I'll make a logo. He has a company called Colossal Squid Design. He designed the logo for Buzzard. So we had the photo that we could use for the album cover. We had a logo, but no band, no music. So I was like, well, I'd been pondering going in this musical direction for a while. I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been doing folk and acoustic, but I've always been a metalhead, and little metal influences would creep into my songs, a little tritone or a little murder ballad with an extra edge to it. So I was just inspired by that. I wrote the first song for the project, Buzzard. Unsurprisingly, the song Buzzard.
You said that you and your buddies were all big, Doom guys. What would you say influenced the project and kind of influenced you in the terms of Doom?
In terms of Doom, well, I mean, Sabbath is like the first point of contact for a lot of. I mean, Solar Skull for rock and roll, one of the first records I had.
Yeah.
And from then, I mean, growing up, I listened to a lot of Trouble, a lot of Candlemass. I had it on tape, then I had it on vinyl, then CD, then back on vinyl.
Right. Got to get that 180 gram reissue.
I got multiple pressings. Yeah. Yeah. As
that's vinyl, that's like Dope Smoker. I've got a couple variations.
Yeah. Right. So, just the classic albums from those bands, just like the classic, just the tritone doomy riff with the bass in unison with plodding rhythm and the lugubrious vibe. That's just in my blood. So, like I said, I kind of was doom folky already. When I first started playing acoustic guitar and writing songs, I kind of did the funny songwriter thing. Then it kind of evolved. I got a little bit better. I was able to do darker material. Then I started singing with my partner and my life partner, Lisa, in the early aughts of the project Austin and Elliot, and she encouraged the dark stuff, and she has beautiful voice, so our harmonies allowed more musicality and more dynamic qualities to our music, which, again, I could just do more murder ballads, have more impact for the darker stuff, and it just was chomping at the bit. And I actually had a few songs kicking around before 2019 that were doom folky, but I had no place to put them yet. Like Lucifer Rise off that album, Death Metal in America, Cockroaches and Weed. And so then once I had the image and the logo, I started recording and really kind of finished it in 2019. I made 4 CDRs with the cover image for Doom Folk, which I did make. Like, I took the photo, put it in Photoshop, put in Masters of Reality purple, like just very on brand, right? Just like hit it hard. Yep. And at first I was going to call the album Buzzard because I love that idea of, the song Buzzard by Buzzard from the album Buzzard, just like Sabbath by Sabbath from the album Sabbath, or Angel Witch.
Motorhead.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We used to joke that we call it the tripular title, like the titular or whatever title, but tripular because it's all three. So, but then I was like, I'm just going all in for a penny, in for a pound, call it doom folk, and also maybe kind of cut through the clutter and be like, this is it. This is my mission statement. And my mission statement was, what if Bob Dylan listened to Black Sabbath and read H.P. Lovecraft, weaving those together. And
you know what? On your next album, that needs to be like the back cover, just that quote. What if Dylan listened to Sabbath?
Yeah, I use that a bit in like the promo verbiage.
Yeah. Well, you'll go to a CD store and they'll have a hype sticker, especially on bands. You know what I mean?
I did that because I put a couple
fans of
local record store. I did that. I printed up a little. They're really hacked just off my home printer, but like with that question, what if Bob Dylan listened to Sabbath and Ready?
That's the move.
And I sold a couple, probably because a couple freaks like me were like, hey. And this is more of a folky area. This is not a metal area.
Gotcha.
The metally side of it is I'm very much a lone wolf when it comes to that. I've often been like that. Like just me and a few friends traveling through non-metal friendly communities.
I can tell you this: if I was in a record store and I saw a record and the hype sticker said, what if Bob Dylan listened to Black Sabbath? I would buy that record.
I would too. And I guess that, again, that's kind of what, as musicians, we're trying to figure out, what is it that I want to hear that I can't find someplace else? And what is it that's really weird about me? Like, what is it that other people kind of scratch their heads? But a few people might like, oh, that's not a bad idea, kind of rad, or check it out. That might be a fresh angle. But it was completely organic. Like I said, I just listened to metal my whole life, but I don't have those skills. I never really had a band. I was just always a solo artist. And there's just reached a point where I just needed to let it out. Let the horses out of the four horsemen of the apocalypse out of the gate.
Absolutely.
And that was a lot of fun to write. And so that was in 2019. And then, I was kind of sad on it. I was going to put it, I obsess over the mixes, just tweak forever, do one more overdub, I'm going to boost the EQ on this and that. I know it's a raw recording, but still, part of it is just, you can't let perfect be the enemy of the good. I record all this stuff at home. This is 100% DIY.
Right.
Every note, every nothing, not a single other. The only other person, my friend Andrew, made the logo, and my friend's brother-in-law took the photo that I put into Photoshop and made the logo. Or made the cover out of.
I would say on this show you're probably amongst friends. I mean,
a
lot of the other people that I've spoken to, not just like on an episode, but just off to the side. It seems that is a very common thing where some bands still do pony up the funds, go to the recording studio, but a lot of guys, it's having Pro Tools and having all these different computer programs and just investing in themselves so that they can record album after album or song after song. And I think we're seeing a really big boom in the home recording.
It's amazing what a few $1,000s can give you. In my younger days, I spent a lot of money in studios making some folk records, and it's just, I can't, it's just the realities of life. You grow up, you got a mortgage. You can't go and drop $10,000 for something that at that kind of loss. Until you've established a fan base that will support you financially with that kind of investment, rather it's a little bit at a time. The other thing, and I'm sure a lot of the musicians might be listening to this or that are in this community, like that feeling of having the freedom to perform when the inspiration strikes, not have the clock ticking at the studio.
Yep.
Especially, for me, like I obsess over every word, every inflection. I don't use any auto tune or anything. It's all pure performance. And you just feel it. You just come home and like this song has got to come out, and I get the perform. I'd rather have a performance that I feel like really reflected the vision for the song, and then and have like the recording quality a little rough,
Right.
compared to like studio perfect, whatever audiophile recording of a somewhat tepid or awkward performance because I was nervous. I was under time crunch. I had a cold that day.
Sure. I mean, lots of different things can, can affect the recording, but I've spoken to a lot of people about this, and I still feel the exact same way. I would rather listen to a band and it's not quite perfect and it's not quite, you know, maybe the mix could be a little better, but there's raw heart in what I'm hearing versus something that was overmixed and overproduced and it's absolutely perfect, but I don't feel anything when I put it on.
Or it's generic because it's the latest audio trends, the fanciest plugins, the hip compression settings, and it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like other records. I had a conversation with a friend of mine a while back, like talking about Opeth records, and we're like,
Yeah.
like Morning Rise versus Ghost Reveries. I'm like, I mean, like Morning Rise, like there's issues with whatever. It's not a perfect recording, but it's unique and the atmosphere is unmatched. There's no other record that sounds like it. Ghost Reveries sounds amazing, no doubt about it. And I love that album. But you can hear other records with the same production choices, the same polish, the same kind of gleam, the same perfection. As much as I love that record, almost like something special about Morning Rise that you can't find anywhere else.
Right. Yeah, I think like I use punk as a great example of this.
Totally. Yeah.
You can listen to a recording, and I don't care who you pick. It could be like the Ramones, or it could be an underground punk band, and the recording sounds great. But then you go see them live, and it's almost like a different song.
Yeah.
Because in the recording studio, now I don't mean home studio, I mean recording studio. When they're in the recording studio, like you just said, there's a time crunch. There's all kinds of extra things that are in a musician's head when they're in the studio. But when you're live and you're full of whiskey and the crowd's going crazy. Actually, funny enough, the Ramones is actually a pretty good example of this. A lot of the the live shows, they were faster than the recording. They'd play the song faster because they're so full of piss and vinegar. They can't help themselves play the song faster than the recording.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's that kind of heart and soul. It's that rawness where I go, I would rather listen to a recording that doesn't sound perfect, but I can feel their energy versus something like you said, with all these fancy plugins and kind of the same stuff everybody else is doing. You kind of get lost in the mix, right? I want heart and soul. Same thing with underground bands, like bands that I've played on the show before. Some of these guys, they're young cats. They're high school kids, right? Some of these guys. And I watch their live performances and I listen to their DIY, demos. And yeah, maybe it's not perfect, but shit, man, do they have just raw emotion. And that's enough to drive me to go, I got to check these dudes out. This is awesome.
And you get that with home studios, right? Because you're feeling it. You can get that take on that day. Like you're feeling it. Or, I mean, a lot of the songs on Mean Bone, the record, these were the first songs I ever wrote on electric guitar. Like the Doom Folk is written on acoustic, and actually there's no electric guitars on the distorted guitars. I distorted acoustics, like I have an Ovation kicking around. And then I bought an Ibanez and just started writing songs with an electric for the first time. And it's a very different songwriting process. With an acoustic, you can perfect the guitar arrangement and the chord voicings and perform it live to yourself with like a polished version, and you can record on your phone or just hear live as you're playing it, how it all fits together. But with a full band arrangement, you don't really know how the vocals sit, how the story, how the word choices, the melody, you really don't really know until you hear it in the full band arrangement with the drums and the heavy guitar and the bass. And so actually a lot of these songs, I had the sketch of the song. I knew what was going to happen. I had all the points I was going to hit, but it wasn't quite there. And then I did a lot of the writing live, like doing a take and then changing the lyrics and digging deep into what I was trying to get across, the character in the story, what would they say, listen back, say, well, what sounds right, what's true about the lyric, what sings well with my voice, like some vowel sounds over a certain riff in a certain key just sound more musical. I'm coming on that. Sometimes you can't understand it because you're just choosing a weird word and it's not cutting through. It doesn't cut through the clutter. But even more than anything else, it's that sonic environment where the story takes place. Until that exists, like Murder in the White Barn was an example. I had that song basically written, but it wasn't until I had it recorded, I was listening to it, and I could inhabit the villain, and, dragging his victim to the grave that he dug by the barn, and then dig into this character. What makes him evil? He's a lunatic. He's also filled with entitlement, like I deserve this and that. So I was able to dig deeper into the character of that villain only after creating the atmosphere and the riff and the drive of the actual final recording.
I wanted to ask you, so Mean Bone, that's the second album.
Yeah.
What do you think, writing-wise, recording-wise, do you see a lot of really big differences between Doomfolk, your first album, and Mean Bone, your second album?
Well, I mean, the first obvious difference was I used drum. I used drum program. I can't play drums. So the one thing I didn't do, I used various programs to assemble acoustic drums. So I'm not a and I'm sure it's obvious, but I think hopefully the end result, it's not about the drumming and it serves its purpose, not distractingly. Hey, that's not a real drummer, but it's hopefully it's effective to get the songs across.
I think that's the instrument that people get a pass on, home recording.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a drummer, get your ass behind the kit.
Right.
But if you're not a drummer, as long as you're singing, playing guitar, whatever, as long as everything else is real, I think for whatever reason, maybe because it's a pain in the ass to like buy a drum kit, have a drum kit, play a drum kit. It's a huge pain in the ass. So I think for whatever reason, like if you tell somebody like, yeah, man, I played the guitar, I played the bass, I did the vocals, I kind of ran it on the drums. Everybody's like, yeah, it's cool, dude. That's fine.
Well, there's those genres of music. I mean, we were talking before about hip hop. I listen to hip hop. I listen to all sorts of stuff that's programmed drums and stuff that's really unique, human drumming. But these are what Doomfolk is about. The songs, it's lyrics forward, singer-songwriter based music that incorporates classic doom.
Yeah,
both electric and acoustic doom. So the acoustic guitar, they're also playing doom riffs. I got lots of tritones, and I'm just adapting the riff to Electric Funeral to an acoustic guitar with a few alternate tunings, things like that. So Doomfolk, it was hand drum. That's all. I have a kick drum. I turned it on its side, hit it with brushes. I have a djembe that I hit. Some of it was just painstakingly done through like a couple, like multi-tracking, some hand drums, but not a kit, not a drum kit. So that's the first thing with Mean Bone. And the second thing I mentioned before, these were the first songs I wrote with electric guitar. Some of them I demoed with electric. Others, like I said, what I was saying, I just put together an instrumental track with a basic sketch of what the song was going to be, and then wrote on top of it.
The way you did the drums on the first album, I did not know that. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, when I play with Lisa as Austin and Elliot for years now, she's a really good drummer. She doesn't play a full kit, but we have this. Our sound is, I play acoustic guitar. She takes, like I said before, I kick drum, turn it on its side, hit it with mallets or brushes. Not on all songs, but some of the harder hitting, rockier songs. And then we do harmonies together. She does lead, and sometimes she does harmonies over my own songs. So I'm basically stealing her shtick, because she came up with that. But then when I was making Doomfolk, I decided a lot of songs. And of course, none of this was a click or anything. It's all
Just
just
feel.
it's all feel. If there are flaws in that regard, like I don't notice them. And there's music I love, then I'll read an article, and then the musician will talk about, yeah, we slow down near the end. I'm like, dude, if you did, then it was the right choice. Like, if
Yeah,
you're
I was just
hitting
gonna
the
I was just
song,
gonna say I don't
yeah,
think that,
yeah.
and nobody can see me doing this. I'm doing the air quote. I don't think that flaws are a bad thing.
If they're coming from the musical performance itself, if it's
That's what I mean.
organic, yeah,
Yeah, I don't think that what they call flaws, I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm really spacing on who it was.
yeah,
Oh God, I was just listening to this the other day. Um, Somebody we would all know was talking about recording and said the
yeah,
exact same thing.
yeah,
Said,
yeah.
"Oh, after the bridge, it kind of sped up a little bit, and then when we got back to the verse, it slowed down a little bit, and we all kind of noticed it. We all kind of felt it, but then when we played it, it sounded right.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't consider that a flaw. That's a feature.
Yeah, it's a feature, not a bug.
It's
Absolutely.
a fe-
Yeah, yeah,
I was hoping you
yeah,
knew
yeah.
where I was going with that.
I mean, that said, I'm a total hypocrite because I obsess over little mistakes and all that. But what I've realized, like working on Mean Bone too, there are mistakes you recognize as being organically right. They weren't really errors. There were features of the performance, and there's things that you can improve on that were wrong. I mean, sometimes sloppy. Sometimes sloppy is actually cool and energetic and chaotic. You know, two examples spring to mind. I remember reading Candlemass, Nightfall, No Click, and then it just perfect. It's an amazing album, one of the Doom classic. The
Oh,
next one,
absolutely.
Ancient Dreams, it was a click. They really struggled with the performances. I think the band was never quite happy with it.
Mm.
I just recall seeing that article. And another thing that comes to mind is like some of my favorite moments in Doom. One thing that comes to mind is the song Dunwich by Electric Wizard.
Yeah.
After they do the chorus
Mm-hmm.
and they come back to the riff, they're not quite together.
Right.
But perfectly so, because it's like there's so much unbridled energy in the music. It's going to fly apart at any minute. If it was any tighter, it just wouldn't. It wouldn't work. And then it falls back in. It's almost like the chorus explodes out. It's got a big hook, and then everyone's coming back to the fucking killer riff, and so excited, but still in the moment and in the pocket. And they're little off, but it makes it perfect.
It's kind of like when the mushroom cloud hits, right? And then
Oh,
it
that's the
settles.
perfect image. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
when the mushroom cloud hits and then the dust starts to settle, and that's exactly what it was. It's
Yeah.
chaotic, and then it all forms back into
Yeah.
place. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And you can't make that's just synergy. You can't make that. I can't force it.
Nope.
It comes in the moment.
Yeah, you can't. You almost can't plan for that. It just happens.
No.
And if you can capture that lightning in a bottle, I mean, you're gold, right? You've done it.
Yeah.
Here's something that I found really interesting because you're really good about this, and I'm sure all the people that cover you and all the coverage that you got, I'm sure everybody really appreciates it because I appreciate it when band I'll play when they repost the show or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Between this album and the previous album, you have got some great promotion from lots of reviewers and other metal shows. How did that all come to be? Did they just reach out to you and just go, "Man, this kicks ass. We're gonna cover it"?
Well, that's interesting feedback. I have no perspective on that.
Okay.
But thank you. That's cool to hear.
Well, I pay attention to it. I check out your page and it's like I nothing against anybody else. I try not to focus on other shows too much, only because I don't want to subconsciously take something from theirs. I think at this point, I'm what, like 30 some odd episodes in, and then all the episodes from 2016, all the original stuff, like I'm kind of on my own path. Like I don't see the show really changing much. But yeah, when I listen to some other podcasts, every once in a while I'm like, "Oh, that would be cool to do." And I'm like, Oh no, because then I'm taken from, like I'm taken from them.
Right. Well, no, dude, you got to be more like a folk singer. Like the folk singer is like, no, you steal everything because it's not stealing, it's synthesizing. You're synthesizing shit. You're
Right.
taking it and you're just integrating something else and it's new. And
Yeah.
also, I firmly believe that when you copy something, if you're in touch with your artistic identity yourself, like you've developed as a human, when you steal something and you copy it, you've changed it automatically. Like we're imperfect mirrors. We refract light a
Right.
little off with our own color. So, and then you can always do a reality check, listen back. Well, okay, every once in a while it's too close. That's yeah. I stole it.
Right.
But when you take an idea and you really internalize it and put it through your own blender, it becomes your own. It's going to change enough. Yeah.
Have you ever come up with something and then somebody tells you that it's something else? I had
Uh,
I had a great experience. This
a
is
little bit,
yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. But that's the kind of feedback I love to hear, though. It's very useful because
Sure.
I might not be aware of it, and it's a good reality check because you don't know. I mean, we're as musicians, we get so subjective. Like I lose complete perspective on what
I've
something
seen
else.
Buzzard come up
Yeah,
in lots of different, the Doom charts and
yeah.
programs like that. Like I've seen Buzzard pop up in
Well, that's good to
multiple
know.
places.
Well, I'll tell you. I guess in terms of like if someone's listening to this and they're like, all right, what kind of work? Like because it's a product of work. You just have to put in the grind and hustle.
Yep.
I guess my approach, if there's anything that's working, then what's working is I just being organic and doing what feels natural and not forcing it and being genuine on the one hand. And on the other hand, really get to know the person. I mean, you see this advice all the time. Like, don't just send out cold calls, no begging, make an authentic connection.
Yeah.
Uh, if you're going to send something to submit something to a blog, actually, like literally read some articles, look at their submission guidelines. If they don't have submission guidelines, don't force it because that means they don't really want to hear from you. But if they have submission guidelines, read it, follow it, and refer to it, and build a relationship with the person you're reaching out because that's what it's about, and that's what motivates me. I want to build a relationship. I want my friends. I want to be part of the community.
James from Girl Dad Grind said the exact same thing. He
Yeah.
said it's just as important to me to put out music as it is to build relationships and friendships with people that I'm working with. And I said, I don't know how many episodes ago, but I said, my absolute favorite part of doing this, more than the promotion and more than, listening to my own voice every 2 weeks, is the amount of
Yeah.
friends and great connections that
Yeah.
I've made just in the last year and a half puts everything else to absolute shame because the show can end tomorrow, but these relationships, these friendships that I
Yeah.
forged, those are going to go on for a long time, possibly forever, who knows. And that's more important than anything else. But I just I want to go I want to riff off of one thing you said a minute ago.
Yeah.
You said that before you submit something, to reach out and kind of focus on what the blog, the interview, or the podcast, whatever, kind of pay attention to what they're doing and kind of see if there's a fit.
Mhm.
What was this? This is sometime last year, and bless the dude's heart. I was not. I was actually. I was nice to him. I listened to his music. I kind of dug it. This this rapper hits me up,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Hey man," he's like,
Yeah.
he goes, "Do you only play heavy metal music, or do you play any rap music?" And I'm thinking to myself, well, dude, have you listened to the? Have I don't know. Have I? Have I played? Have I played any
Yeah.
rap music before? And I'm thinking to myself, I love rap music, man. I love it. And I listened to his music, and I actually enjoyed it.
Mhm.
But I said, Black Tornado podcast is predominantly, yeah, I'll play punk and I'll
Yeah. Yeah.
play like whatever,
Yeah.
but it all comes back to like lots of riffs, right? I've always said if the riffs are tight, I'm gonna
Yeah.
play it. I don't care what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I said, no, I says, not at this time. I says, I love hip hop. I said, but it's just not the right fit for Black Tornado. And because I did want to help the guy, even though clearly he wasn't paying
Yeah.
that close attention, I ended up finding an underground like a hip hop page. The guy like reviewed underground hip hop
Oh, that's awesome.
records,
That's
and I pointed him. I said, "Go
yeah,
check this dude out because this is where
yeah.
you need to be."
I saw that's so helpful.
I
Yeah.
said, "If you ever put guitars behind your rap,"
Any riffs?
I
Like she
said,
watched Channel Zero, right?
"Yeah." I said,
Right. Public Enemy. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Shit. That
yeah. If you
Slayer riff.
want, if you want to
Yeah.
do Bring the Noise, hit me
Yeah.
up,
With
and I'll
Anthrax.
and I'll play it.
Yeah. Right.
But
Yeah.
like you just said, like pay attention to what you're submitting, like what you're
And
submitting your
even
stuff
like
to.
on a granular level, like one thing it's been a joy promoting Buzzard compared to when I was doing, I could be honest with you, promoting some of the folk music is a lot of the music I actually didn't like. Like I was in a genre that I liked some of it a lot and I loved a little bit of it, but a lot of it I just didn't connect to. I don't connect to it. It's not for me,
Fair enough.
especially over the years.
Mhm.
I kind of went through maybe a phase. I still listen to a lot of Dylan and Townes Van Zandt and a lot of Americana. That's still a piece of my musical diet, but there's a whole world of folk, like singer-songwriter, folky folk. I kind of alienated from. I kind of passed through it and I don't connect to a lot of the music. But stoner, doom, metal, it's in my blood since I was a kid. And I actually literally enjoy going to someone's blog and just looking at the album covers, learning about names, reading the submissions. It's not a chore. Sometimes it's work. I mean, it's hours and hours.
But it's a labor of love.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
Yeah.
I don't like drop any names, it'd be weird or anything, but like there's one blogger who's got a good following, and I was reading the blog. I was like, I like it. I discovered it. Like I really like this dude. And I looked at his Spotify playlist and I had Yob and Blue Oyster Cult. And I was like, I think this guy might like my music. So I was like, emailed him, was like, I was checking out your Spotify. You got BOC and Yob. I'm like, you might get a kick out of this. Thanks for checking it out. Like you do that 100 times. It takes a lot of time. You got to be prepared to do that. And out of those 100 emails, you might only get one back.
Yep.
So that's part of it. And part of it was there's blogs I had read for years. And I was like, my only goal when I had zero promo plan for Buzzard when I put out nothing. I barely was able to bring myself to press publish on Bandcamp. My only goal was just one. I'm not going to mention the blog thing because it might seem weird, but one blog I read for years. I didn't know the guy personally. I was like, I'm just going to email this to him. Mm-hmm. My one goal. And if he emails back and just say, hey, that's pretty cool, I'm done. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
And it turns out he liked it enough to end up writing about it. And then one thing led to another. Started. But just it's a little piece of encouragement. It's a little check, but it was a goal I could set. And that's, I guess, another thing I would say is you set your goals on things you can achieve. I couldn't control whether he'd like it. Maybe no one would like what I'm doing, but I can control reaching out, sending 10 emails. Maybe I won't hear back from any of them. And maybe I'll send 100 emails and nobody will end up. But I can control my process of enjoying finding out about the websites, blogging, writing the email, personalizing it, say their name, get into that process, and I can control that. And that could be my goals. Have goals, don't have dreams, have goals.
And at the end of the day, I 100% agree with everything you just said. And yeah, like you said, you can't control if somebody's going to like it, but you do have control over just how much work you put in. And if you send 100 emails and you only get one response, don't look at it and go, well, 99 responses, I didn't get. Be happy with the one. I mean, my show,
you have to, yes.
I don't get
100%.
And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to name specific people because that's weird. And I like everybody. I don't. I have beef with no one. I respect every other show and every other blogger, podcast guy. I respect.
Yeah, everybody. Don't get me wrong. Zero beef here. Yeah.
Some shows do thousands in their first day, right? Thousands.
Yeah.
And I sit there and I go, wow, that would be nuts. And then there's another part of me that's like, dude, fuck that. I don't want thousands. I like the little, because the little community, I know everybody that turns onto the show is a legit, like, they're metalheads that want to check out underground music,
Right.
and there's no like bots or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't have some weird thing where it's like, oh, this episode has 2,000 views, and then you come to find out, like, oh, like only like 50 people actually listen to it. It's like, I'm really happy if I get those kind of numbers, because when the bands reach out to me, say the show airs, right, and the band reaches out to me later, and they're like, hey man, we noticed, like, we got more YouTube subs, or we got more Spotify files, or whatever, blah blah blah, Instagram, whatever, feeding the algorithm machine.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, I'm just happy that I was able to help you in any capacity, right?
Yeah.
Any capacity.
You got to have that attitude. I mean, just billions of artists that are worthy every day. Not just songs and music, novels, art.
Yeah.
Creative video games. There's so much. Like, I know we hate the word content, but so much art with so much of that.
Yeah.
And it's just a philosophy of life. It's how you have to approach life, with gratitude that you got one response, and that's fucking amazing. Or what, you're gonna look at someone has 100,000 views and I got 10, but like, that's 10 people, and probably one of them watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I have a friend of mine. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, you just have to be really happy with any small thing.
Yeah.
Like, I've always said 100 times, you're not gonna get a T-shirt. Quit asking for one. But I like that people are asking.
Yeah.
It means that
It is.
nice.
Yeah.
It means were I to sell them, I know I'm guaranteed, I don't know, like 20 sales, which is kind of cool. Really quick thing.
It's a lot, man.
Hey, it's something, man. Something really cool.
I think it's a lot. It's a lot for me.
Forever ago, I was at I think it was Chicago Open Air.
Yeah.
And I had a vest with the old Black Tornado logo on it. And actually, it was a T-shirt, and I just cut the shirt and I sewed it on the back of a vest. Yeah. I was like, hey, I'm going to go to an all-day metal festival. Maybe if somebody taps me on the shoulder and goes, what the hell's Black Tornado Podcast? I can chat them up for a minute.
Right.
And the coolest fucking thing happens. Somebody's like, oh shit, Black Tornado. And I turned around, and the dude referenced the last episode that came out. So he wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to fuck with this dude because I can read it.
Yeah.
Like, he referenced the last episode. And I was so, like, I'm sure, I hope I didn't come off like a dick, because I was so, like, not starstruck is the right word. I was so just, like, baffled that somebody was going to say anything to me at all. I think I was just like, oh, thanks, dude. And I just kind of wanted away. But it's like, little stuff like that, just like any kind of appreciation, right, for art and the terrible content word that we hate. But any kind of recognition is, like, so cool just to
really
hear. It's just so cool. It's so appreciated.
It's motivating, and I think part of it,
totally.
Like, as a listener, I know what it's like, because music has affected me or touched me. So to be able to provide that to someone else is, amazing. And makes you feel like you're actually doing something that has some value. That it's not just
absolutely
it's just not solipsistic, self-absorbed stuff. You're creating art that might touch someone or enhance their lives. I hate the word enhance. I couldn't think of a better word.
You might just write a song you might just write a song that gets stuck in somebody's head, and you might never know that, right? They may not message you and go like, hey man, I heard, Darkness Wins and it got stuck in my head. But to them, that song's been stuck in their head while they're driving to work, doing their laundry. You know what I mean? And that's just cool. Like, it's just the little stuff that we might not know. But speaking of Darkness Wins, let's take a little break.
Cool.
All right, we're going to listen to Buzzard. This is Darkness Wins.
Storm comes rolling wins. Close your eyes, the universe dies. A star is born, a star explodes. Streetlights flicker down the road. The yellow candy moon disintegrates. You trace in the window, do not resuscitate. The night comes falling, falling like a shawl to wrap around your shoulders, darling. The sun goes down, the darkness wins. The sun goes down, the darkness wins. The long eternal night begins. The sun goes down, the darkness wins. The darkness wins.
It's fuzzy. It's chuggy. It's got surprisingly clean vocals. It's got a lion eating a dude. What's not to love? Darkness wins. Love it.
Thanks.
Killer track, brother. Killer. Love it.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun for
This,
such a bleak song, an unrelentingly bleak song. That was a lot of fun to write.
This
Very
is
cathartic.
like ideal doom for me. Like this is good. This is the kind of music where if I didn't have Black Tornado, I would still be like plugging this to my friends. Like, oh, you guys gotta check out
thanks.
this fucking band Buzzard, right?
Yeah. That took less than a week. That was from inception. It's one of those songs. I'm sure you've had that experience. Some things take years, some things take a week. And you
Hey,
never
man,
know.
Sabbath wrote Paranoid in like 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Sometimes the really killer ones come right away.
Or you're excited about an idea, or you're a little naive, like you're not burned out on a song that you've been laboring over and you've lost objectivity about. You just get a simple idea and you just bang it out and you're like, okay, I'm not gonna complicate it. That's
Sure.
It was a pure explosion of despair and doom.
Yes. Now, a question that I like to ask everybody, because anybody that knows me in my personal life knows that I am a huge pedal nerd. I've got I'm sure there's people like with way more than me, but like when you have like 35 pedals, to me that's a lot.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? It doesn't have to be a pedal. That's just my preference. But what's your favorite piece of gear?
All right. I'll confess, I am not a gear guy. I keep thinking as simple as possible. I think it's the folk singer part of me. I want an acoustic guitar and a chord and a capo and a song. Because part of it is the fear of something going wrong and being overwhelmed. And also part of it is I want to distill my idea into something pure. So everything on Mean Bone has one guitar pedal. It is
the whiskey of doom, nice and distilled.
Yes, exactly. I want it.
Feel free to use that, but you also have to credit me.
Oh, for sure.
The whiskey
So
of
it's
doom.
it's an Ibanez DS7.
Okay, nice.
Ibanez DS7 distortion. I think I did an Instagram post at one point with a picture of it, and like with very narrow range of settings. I mean, I did EQ. I did a lot of toiling and obsessing in terms of the mix, but everything on this record, and I just have and everything was, I was going to say, I had an Ibanez guitar. I played everything on that record.
The acoustic or the electric?
The electric.
Okay.
And the acoustic is the crown jewel of Inscrutable Studios here, with my nickname for my basement dwelling studio. Is a guitar that is handmade by a luthier in New Hampshire by the name of Alan Carruth. And the one time I ever won anything in this life, I actually won this guitar. So
wow, cool.
Not a humble brag. I'm just saying that one time it happened. The songwriting contest in 1996, and I was really fortunate to get this guitar, because this guitar way beyond my playing ability. It's a really nice guitar. And it really inspired me to improve my playing because I was like, holy shit, I have a really nice guitar now. Before that, I was just banging around in Ovation, with plastic back and all weather.
Right.
So, and the thing is, I've always been, even though a lot of the Buzzard, I'm doing finger picking, I've been a very vigorous strummer. I flat pick when I do a lot of my folk music. And the original Alan Carruth guitar didn't have any pick guards. And he saw me play and he put on one, saw me play again, and a month later put on another. So it has these impromptu pick guards on it. I'll have to post a picture of it because it's a unique guitar. It's got a thicker neck. So it feels a little more like a nylon string guitar, but it's pure steel. And my whole life, I've always used the heaviest gauge you can, medium gauge. I just like that tactile challenge of having thick, meaty guitar strings.
Fuck everybody else. Send me a picture regardless, because I want to check it out.
Yeah. So that's the crown jewel for sure. And that really is what it comes down to. I got one mic.
Okay.
Rhodes. I have it right here. I see. I'm not enough of a gearhead. I can't like rattle off all the numbers. NT1.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I could tell you who makes my mic, but I couldn't tell you like the model number. I have no idea. I know it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it sounds good.
And I just am investing in, thanks to some of the success of Buzzard. It's just, again, we're saying before, it's just inspiring. It's like I get a few pennies in my pocket, but also people are digging it. Then it's just motivating. Like, all right, I got a lot more of this come from. I like 30 odd songs on my computer, and so I'm like, just keep working on them.
I look at it like this, and this doesn't just apply to you. This applies to all bands, all genres of music. If you put your stuff up for sale, be it CD, digital download, vinyl, cassette, whatever, t-shirts, I don't care.
Yeah.
There is a world of places for people to spend their money. If they choose to spend their money with you, that is such an accomplishment. I don't care if you put your whole album up for $1. So what?
Yeah.
If you're making any kind of money, it's because somebody chose to log into PayPal and send you $1 or see you at a show, buy your CD, buy your t-shirt. There's a world of other bands that they could support. They're choosing to support you.
It is because, it is a pretty unbelievable feeling. Somebody could feel crass as a musician if you like talk about money or in some way, but it's not what it's about. It's exactly, you said it perfectly. Exactly that. It's that it's the highest compliment in a way. It's just because someone decided to part with some hard-earned cash, and also
in a world where they could spend it anywhere
and on things they need, not just things they want, like things that are actually important. Like this weird shit that I do is not that important, but that little bit goes a long way to help. I'm upgrading my computer. I got my second electric. I got a Gibson Epiphone. And part of it is like literal money. Like it actually, I can spend it on things that make Buzzard better. But it's also, like you're saying, it's the motivation and the inspiration.
It's like when people ask, like the running joke is that I always say I'm going to make t-shirts and I never will.
Yeah.
But like when people say, look, you should make t-shirts, I'm like, why the fuck do you want to buy a t-shirt? And then it's like, oh, because they legitimately enjoy the show. Like, it's kind of cool when you know. And I still won't, because go buy a Buzzard. Fucking buy a Buzzard vinyl. Get the record, man.
Well,
Doom should always be on wax.
Vinyl. Yeah, I'd love to get Mean Bone on wax someday. We'll see. But I got more records to come out in the next couple of years.
Hell yeah.
So I'll have more opportunities. You take things one step at a time. And
absolutely.
Like I was saying before, we're doing this for the passion, for the love of it, for community, for creating music that we think has a place in the world that might not be mainstream, but has a home in the underground. Yeah. And I want to grow Buzzard organically. And I think that's what all bands should do. Don't force it. When there's positive feedback, run in that direction and embrace it. When there's negative feedback, just move on. Whatever you do, it's not for everybody, but it might be for somebody.
Sure.
And There's one of my favorite Kurt Vonnegut quotes was talking about what's the meaning of music and art and literature, and it's to not feel lonely. That you can find people you connect with, and in art and music, you're honest in a way that maybe everyday conversation or small talk you're not. That
Yeah.
You share some secret thoughts, a little dark, a little edgy, a little something that like, oh, I didn't know someone else felt that way, or it can be so cathartic. It can be very comforting,
Yeah.
especially when you're exploring darker themes. Like
Sure.
I've had that thought, or I thought I kind of had that thought, but I hadn't quite put it that way before, and that helps me process it.
Absolutely.
I mean, some of the music I'm making with this is a bit therapeutic. It's a bit cathartic. I'm getting some shit out there, and sometimes a couple of the songs I've listened back and been like, I personally felt a little better getting that out of my system.
Yeah, it's like recorded therapy, you know?
Some of it is, and I think there's some element of that. I think in a lot of maybe all songwriters and musicians,
Sure.
you know, there's
At least
craft
the
and
ones that are putting out soul, man.
yeah,
You know, where you can really feel the emotions. And a lot of bands played on the podcast before, where
yeah,
you know I'll listen to a band submit something, and I'm just like, damn, brother's going through stuff, and I can feel it.
yeah.
You know. Another question I had for you: in the future, do you have any plans on trying to do any live shows?
Good question, and I've given it a thought. And I had an acoustic gig that almost came through up in Maine, and that might happen eventually. You know, I've been performing live my whole life as a solo artist first,
Right.
and then with Lisa as a duo. I don't have plans to put together a band and actually
Okay.
produce a metal at the moment. If an opportunity came, again, like I was saying, something organic, like
Yep.
start meeting musicians. Hey, let's play together, and something comes up, and then there's an opportunity. When it comes to playing it acoustically, maybe about a third of the Buzzard material I think I could deliver live, especially the doom folk stuff and some of the stuff on Mean Bone. And a few of the electric songs I've practiced doing it solo with Lisa. Like some of them I can do, but some of them you need the bass and the drums to make it work.
Right.
Live. So I'd love to, but I don't want to force it. And also I don't want to bring doom folk out in the world and try it in a way that doesn't work. Like
Yeah.
I guess it needs to be organic, but also I don't want to make it heavy if it's not working in that context. I'd rather do an acoustic show.
Makes
It's what
sense.
I'm comfortable with, and I think it'd be an interesting place to start. Like, why not have a 20-minute Buzzard opener acoustic set, kind of clear the palette before heavy bands, but not come out and try to be like, "Rah, this is acoustic metal." Like,
No,
it's
I think
different.
I think the way you just said it is like that's spot on. Like, yeah, the acoustic metal, that's the palate cleanser before, you know, some, you know, really heavy, intense shit. But, you know, fans of Doom, you know, especially the ones that haven't heard Buzzard yet, like they're gonna dig this shit. Like if they're really into Doom, there's no way you're not gonna dig this, man. Like you just have to dig it.
Because
Right?
what's in my blood is real underground doom. Like
Yeah.
it's like there's like there's genres of music where there's some genres you like the A-level artists and you never really get down to the second tier. And there's some
Right.
genres where I got first tier down, I got second tier. And then there's third tier. Like Doom's one of those few genres where I've gone down all the tiers. Like I'll
Yeah,
check
you're
out a
at the
little
bottom of the iceberg.
yeah, I'm like, and thing is, I love it. I don't care if it's derivative from a Sabbath riff. Like that's awesome. That you
It
should
should
thrive
be.
from that.
It
like
should be.
yeah, but and actually, I have a theory. If you'd indulge me for a minute, like part of
Please.
what I've been thinking about it is that you have folk melodies, and there's like a pool of like archetypal folk melodies, and a folk singer will draw from them, and they'll tweak it and twist it and adapt the melody. But there's just a limited population, and
Sure.
same thing with doom riffs. They're kind of like folk melodies. They're like folk musical ideas. There's a certain limited patterns of the tritone riff, and Sabbath kind of got pretty much all of them. And since then, we've just been tweaking and pulling from it. But you never look at a folk singer and be like, that melody's not original enough. Like you're listening to more how they used it in the context of that song and how they rendered it with their own unique vision and personality. Same thing with a doom riff. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're not creating a harmonic or musical or rhythmic idea that hasn't been done. You're just adding your own flavor to it, your stamp. You're adapting it to a different context. So I almost feel like doom riffs are like folk melodies. And I think you see that if you go to a Guitar Center, right? Someone takes guitar off the wall, they're going to play folk music. What's folk music? I don't know, the riff to half the Sabbath songs. Start playing Into the Void or NIB or Lord of this World or Paranoid.
Right. No, I
and
agree
there's Ozzy Crazy Train. Like those are what you play. What's folk music except music that everyone just instinctively, enthusiastically wants to play when there's an instrument available? Right. So to me, doom, especially doom riffs, it's folk music.
I agree with that assessment 100%. I did have something I wanted to bring up to you because you are from Massachusetts. So back in 2016, I was in Boston and I took a train over to Worcester. It is not pronounced Worcester, as I was angrily told. It's Worcester. So I learned that real fast.
But it's Dorchester. If you go to Dorchester, it's not Dorchester, it's Dorchester. So there's Dorchester, there's Worcester. Just to fuck with you. Massachusetts just wants to know that you're not welcome, I guess.
Yeah, I went up to the concierge at the hotel because I was heading to Worcester, and I was trying to figure out the train schedule.
Yeah.
And I said, and he goes, "Where are you trying to go?" I says, "I'm trying to go to Worcester." And he just stared at me. And I'm like, "Isn't that what it says on the flyer?" I'm like, "Yeah, look." And I hand him the flyer, and he's like, "Oh, Worcester." I'm pretty sure that says Worcester, dude. And he's like, "No." And so, anyway,
I just need to say, you've heard the term masshole, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
you had a masshole experience.
Well, I'll tell you, I loved all of it. I loved the over aggressiveness. Like I live in the wrong place. So I went to this thing, again, it's back in 2016. Wondered if you had heard of it, called the Rock and Shock Festival.
No, I'm not familiar. No.
It was the coolest. It was so it was a 2-place event. There was a horror movie convention, and that was the start of the day. And then you went to the Palladium, which was not far from there in Worcester, and it was a concert. But one ticket got you into both events.
Nice.
So it's an all-day, all-night event, and I met Bill Moseley. Phil Anselmo was there. I got to meet him. Lots of people. And then the bands, more than I can remember everybody, but I remember Whitechapel was there, Combi Christ, and the big headliner was Max and Igor Cavalieri got back together, and they did Return to Roots, where they played Roots from front to back.
Nice.
It was just amazing. I was in Massachusetts for a completely unrelated reason. And on the flight, I'm looking for anything that might be interesting other than the reason that I was originally going for, which wasn't that interesting. And I found this event called the Rock and Shock Festival. And I love horror movies. I love heavy metal. You can't. That's a perfect day right there, right? You throw in a lobster roll, you're set. And
all right.
I will say this: one of my favorite. I have 2 great interactions that happened to me while I was in Massachusetts. You ever walk down the street and there's somebody coming your way and you're obviously going their way?
Yeah.
And you don't say anything, but you have that thought in your head, like one of us probably needs to scoot over a little bit so we don't walk directly into each other.
Yeah.
So I literally take one step to the right, not some cartoonish run. I take one step to the right, and I'm passing the guy, and the guy looks at me and he goes, "I wasn't going to fucking walk into you."
Holy
and I was
shit.
just like, this is the greatest place I've ever been in my life.
The classic masshole experience. Yeah.
So aggressive. I love every minute of this. And the other one, and this is just real quick because I figure you and the people listening might really get a kick out of this. So the event ends. Fucking Sepultura, you can't
Yeah.
go wrong. I get back to the hotel, or I should say, I get out of the cab. I'm walking up to the hotel. It's like 3:00 in the morning,
Yeah.
and there's a cop standing there, just having a smoke, just kind of looking around, patrolling, making sure everything's cool. I walk up to him. I say, "Hello, how are you?" Pull out a cigarette of my own, and we were just shooting the shit. He could tell I was a tourist because we were outside of this really big hotel, and asked what I was up to. I told him about the event, and I said, "Yeah, I'm still kind of jazzed, from the concert, but I know, bars are closed." I said, "So I'm just gonna have my smoke and go watch some TV." So this drunk guy, sloppy drunk,
Mhm.
walks up to a cop, a uniformed cop, and he goes, "You know where there's a liquor store?" The cop, without skipping a beat, he goes, "Right up there, make a left." And he goes, "Thank you." And the guy starts walking, and I look at the cop and I go, "Dude, it's 3:00 in the morning." I go, "There's no, that liquor store's not open, is it?" He looks at me without skipping a beat. He goes, he asked where the liquor store was. He didn't ask if it was open.
Right.
Dude, I was dying laughing. I about fell on the ground laughing. I said, that is
Yeah.
just gold. Yeah.
Y-
Never
Yeah,
asked
that
if
kind
it
of
was open.
deadpan. Yeah, that's totally Massachusetts. Yeah, yeah.
I
Especially
said,
Eastern Mass. That's Eastern Mass, or like Central Mass is Worcester, and that's closer to Eastern Mass. Western Mass, where I'm at, it's a little more hoovy groovy. It's a little more like
more chill.
Berkeley or Portland, Oregon. It's chill. It's a little, yeah. There's a lot of universities here.
Nice.
Yeah, so kind of like in Eastern Mass is yeah, that's where you get like the hardcore Southie and
Yeah.
when you see all like The Departed and you see all those movies.
The movie The
That-
Town.
Yeah.
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 Which is still one of my favorite. I've probably seen that movie 40 times. It's always a favorite one. A quick question, and we're going to get off the Massachusetts thing. We're going to wrap the show up.
Okay.
Another thing that happened to me. You can see I am a bald man.
Uh-huh.
So when I'm out in public, I always have a cap on.
All
This
right.
cap, that cap. I literally have I have about 100 caps just off screen.
You should put a cap on it. Yep.
At least 100. So I'm trying to walk into this bar. Guy stops me at the door. He says, "I can't let you in." I said, "What's wrong?" He goes, "Your hat." The day before, I was at the Rock and Shock Festival. I bought a Stranger Things baseball cap.
Mhm.
Black cap, red letters, Stranger Things logo.
Mhm.
I said, "What's wrong with my Stranger Things? It's like the most popular television show in the world."
Right. Totally
And
innocuous.
he goes, no. He goes, "Red Sox hat." I said, "I don't have a Red Sox hat." He goes, "The only people that come in this bar wearing caps," he goes, "is Red Sox hat." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, I'm gonna get going. Thank you." So I walk. I go to the next bar. I swear to God, exact same thing. Guy literally says word for word the same thing. So I look at him and I go, "Okay, I'm not wearing a rival baseball."
Yeah, you're not wearing a Yankees cap. Yankees cap, I understand. Like
Yankees cap. I can
you're
see
lucky to
your
get
ass-
out there alive. Yeah.
Right. I said, "It's Stranger Things. It's a television show. I know you're aware of it because everyone in the world's aware of it."
Yeah.
So I go, "So if I walk to my hotel room, go into my room, throw the hat on the bed and come down with no hat on, I can come right in." He goes, "Yeah, no problem." I said, "Okay, that's really bizarre." And, but I really wanted a drink. So I just did that. I went back to the hotel just to throw my hat on the bed. And then I went back in the bar. Is that a common thing, or were those guys just screwing with me?
That's totally bizarre. I've never heard of that. I mean, like you said,
Yankees cap, no go.
Yankees cap, yeah, you're playing with fire.
That's an
I
ass
mean,
whooping.
people are not going to see. I mean, someone might cast a dirty look or be like, "What are you doing?" Or maybe rib you or something. But that's totally bizarre.
But it's a Stranger Things. It's a television show at the
It
height
must have
of the
been like
show's popularity.
They're just fucking with you, and who knows? Maybe like, hey, let's like the two guys know each other, and let's fuck with people tonight, and we're gonna see someone who looks like a tourist You got
Yeah.
all right. So okay, they heard you say a couple words, and you're like, he's not from around here,
Right.
He's from the Midwest or something.
Yeah.
All right. Like, I hear people from the Midwest are really nice. Like,
But
that's
even
fuck-
that doesn't. But even that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I even enjoyed the ribbon.
You're
Even
right.
that was fun.
Yeah, the Ruby, but that's next level though to actually make you. I mean, I would be like, I could see them be like, put it in your pocket or like turn it around, like
Yeah.
just to
No,
bully
they-
you
they-
a little bit.
Yeah. The guy straight up said, "Not gonna happen."
Mm.
And I'm
It
thinking,
wasn't like World Series night or something like.
no,
I could
it
see
was,
like
it was a fucking Tuesday.
yeah, it's a Tuesday, just so
Yeah.
Tuesday.
And I'm thinking, because at first, when he said no to the hat, I forgot what hat I was wearing. And I'm like, oh, am I
Right.
wearing like? Because I have a lot of, every time I visit a new baseball park, I buy a cap.
Sure,
But I'm conscious of where I'm headed and not to wear a rival. I don't
like a rival team. Sure.
I don't even have it. I don't even have a Yankees hat, so I couldn't be wearing a Yankees hat.
Mm.
I take my cap off and I look at it, Stranger Things, and I go, "It's a television show. The little girl with the blood. Everybody knows this fucking show." And okay, so they were just busting my balls, having fun. Okay, cool.
All right.
I'm glad I know it because even then it didn't bother me.
Yeah, and
But now that I know that they were messing with me, now in retrospect, I find it very funny.
it is funny. I don't know why, except Masshole, just because Masshole. It's a thing. It really is. People in Vermont, New Hampshire, everyone talks about Masshole. It's started, I think, as a highway thing because Massachusetts are more aggressive drivers than in general, especially coming up from Boston. And Boston is a really high stress city to live and drive in particular because it's a small city with a lot of one-way streets, very confusing road signs, and a lot of just really ballsy pedestrians that just march out willy-nilly in front of a car with their Starbucks, going with their I gotta go down to the financial district, and you got students that are in La La Land. It's just a really chaotic, stressful place to drive. So I get it. It's got that really negative energy, and it kind of drifts up north to New Hampshire and Maine.
Oh, that's great. Hey, Chris, thanks for coming on the show, brother.
It was a blast. It was really
this
fun.
was fun, dude. All right, I hope everybody enjoyed Buzzard. You guys know the drill. Once the episode ends, which is going to be in a second here, make sure go over to the socials, check out the Bandcamp. Let's see, you've got Instagram. What other socials? Just Instagram? What else you got?
Buzzard HQ is mainly Bandcamp, Instagram, Blue Sky. I've been using Blue Sky.
Okay.
So I post some stuff on there, and Ampwall. Ampwall is up and coming. So,
but the big one we want you to use is the Bandcamp because we got the CDs for sale, we got the vinyl for sale.
Yeah, we got the Doomfolk vinyl, Doomfolk CD that has bonus tracks on it too. Some of the folkier stuff that's still dark and doomy that preceded Buzzard, and then the new one, Mean Bone.
Hell yeah, very cool. All right, you guys know the drill. Go drop likes, follows, feed the algorithm machine. Once again, thanks to Chris coming on the show. As always, I'm your host, Adam. This will continue to be your home for underground metal. Be safe, be good to each other. We'll catch you in 2 weeks. Peace.